photosynthesis. Now, we spent quite a lot of time before we were rudely interrupted by COVID talking about photosynthesis and working with photosynthesis. So I'm just going to give you a quick review. And again, our focus now is on how organisms that can do photosynthesis are going to be the base of food chains and webs. And so, overview of photosynthesis. All right, so we look at the chemical equation, and without even balancing it, and really we're not even going to write we will write this one, CO2, which is carbon dioxide, plus H2O, which is water, is going to give us sugar. Now we would have written that as C6H12O6, but sugar is what we're really talking about. We don't need to know the chemical formula for that. And oxygen. So carbon dioxide and water, and we need sunlight here for photosynthetic organisms, are going to give us sugar and oxygen. That happens in 2 phases. So it's not just a simple chemical reaction. You just can't put carbon dioxide and water and get sugar and oxygen. The first phase is called the light reactions. And the light reactions are actually how we're going to get oxygen out. The other set of reactions are called the Calvin cycle, and the Calvin cycle gives us the sugar. Now, both of these, the light reactions and the Calvin cycle, happen in a place in the plant called the chloroplast, one of those organelles that's present in plant cells. The light reactions depend on pigments, and pigments are chemicals whose electrons absorb light. That light energy is absorbed by the electrons, and you can think of it like standing close to a fire. You feel the heat. The heat is energy. You can feel that energy. These electrons, because of the way they are put together in an atom, absorb that light energy and start moving faster and faster. And sometimes they jump off. We talked about using that electron transport, and that's going to power the building of the sugar. But for us, what happens is, because of those pigments, like chlorophyll, water is involved in the light reactions. So water goes in the light reactions, oxygen comes out in the light reactions, and water is broken down into oxygen and hydrogens because these pigments have lost electrons, and to get them back, they take them from a water molecule. The Calvin cycle, important fact for us, is carbon fixation. So we take carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere and we build it into a sugar. So we get sugar out. Up here we had water in. Down here we have carbon dioxide in. So the carbon dioxide is used in the Calvin cycle to build glucose or sugar. The water is used in the light reactions to make the oxygen, and that oxygen is the oxygen we breathe. This all happens in the chloroplasts, and this is a reason that all plants or all food chains, and we'll talk about the difference between chains and webs coming up in a future chapter, but the basis of all food chains and webs are plants or producers or autotrophs for some depending on what word you want to use to describe them, because these are the only organisms that can make sugar. They can make glucose. There is no other way on the planet to get sugar. Has to come from a producer. So they don't really need us consumers, but we definitely need producers. All right, I believe that covers everything I wanted to go over in a quick review of photosynthesis. Again, we've spent a lot of time on this during the year, so you should be pretty familiar with photosynthesis. Just want to review it all before we move on to how it fits into food chains and webs and how organisms interact with one another because of this relationship. So tomorrow I'll post slides for a review of respiration, because we still want to look again at how we get ATP out of glucose, and then we will move on next week to a new chapter. Thank you guys again for listening and watching, and I used to say I hope to see you soon, but I don't think I'm gonna see you guys until next fall. But keep up the good work. This is important information for you. And we will press onward. I will also post assignments today, to a formative assignment today to review this material for